So this week we actually played a radio show. I thought we were playing a game, but it turns out we were playing a radio program.
Oh yeah,
Um, I loved it. Did you love it?
yeah. I just didn't know what I was doing with it. I mean, whatever they say in the radio program is not what you're doing on the screen, but that's okay. Yeah,
I just, I, these stories felt very real. The people, the callers talking in about their memories of when they used to live on Earth and
and
their
then their journey to
struggles trying to
Mars,
live
and
on Mars,
yeah,
and it felt very real. The music was quality, and the honestly, audio in this game is just fantastic.
yeah. I was very surprised at the almost like real time continuation of it. Like I was not expecting it to be like that. Yeah.
Well, let's kick it to our own audio engineers, and let's listen to a little theme song of ours.
Two brothers play a game. Two brothers play a game. Two brothers play a game. Then they will break that game.
So, welcome back. Welcome to Two Brothers Play a Game. I'm Josh,
I'm Chris.
and this is a podcast where we, two brothers, play a game we found on sale for the Nintendo Switch. We do a fun segment in the front half of the podcast, and then discuss and review the game of the month in the back half of the show.
It's like a
this
mullet.
month,
I I don't know exactly how a mullet because
I think we just lost listeners. We don't have many to lose, Chris. Stop it.
It's like business. We have the opposite mullet. It's the party in the front and the business in the back.
That just seems difficult to see. That seems to be a driving hazard, is what that is.
Reverse mullet. There we go.
So
that's how we
this
describe
month we'll be talking about Golf Club Wasteland, a very interesting game that I can't wait to talk about. But first, I have a challenge for you, Chris.
Ooh, challenge
So
accepted.
so since we are going back to the beginning, talking about golf games, what we know, what we started with, the thing that made us who we are today, in terms of a podcast, at least.
Which means we
so
might have to find more golf games as time goes on.
Yes, thankfully they do make quite a few of these, so we should be okay for a little while. What do you think we need to pivot? Do we need to be an all golf game podcast?
No, please, no.
Okay, fine. We'll keep that in the back pocket. If our golf episodes start doing well, we might have to do what the audience demands of us and become a golf club only podcast club. Anyway, in our first episode, we started with an article I found online at the last minute. This time, we're going with an article that I found yesterday. So, really,
So not last minute.
really putting some preparation into this podcast, some extra work into it. And this article and the challenge is for you, Chris, to name the 12 best-selling video games of all time. I have decided you will get 30 hints,
Okay.
and I will keep track. And you can name them in any order, but the hints will come in order of least selling to greatest selling. However, you can, if you are getting stuck on one and you want to move forward, you can skip. So we can maybe come back to it, Family Feud style.
So I get to name. I can just name some games.
Yes.
Not necessarily in the order, but the
Yes.
hints are going to
And I
come
will.
in order.
Yes, unless you say skip, hints for the next game instead.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anyone want to rattle off? You know what? I'm not going to do 30 hints. I'm going to do 30 guesses. So you
Oh,
get 30 guesses, and I'll give you a hint in
wow.
between each guess.
Okay. I am going to say, Super Mario Brothers 3 is on the list.
No,
No.
that is not on the list. I'm
Wow.
just
Okay.
double checking, and
Is this
this
is this by monetary value or by number
good
of
question.
copies?
No, it is by copies sold.
It is by copies.
Copies
sold. Okay.
sold. So
Oh,
probably the reason Mario Brothers is, because the gaming industry has built and grown over the years.
well, yeah, but I feel like I think that was huge, but it might have been just been huge for that time. Okay, I will say Final
Oh, wait,
Fantasy
wait, wait.
VII. What? Wait.
Oh,
Oh.
I was going to
Oh.
give you a hint. I
Oh.
will give you a hint in addition to your guess of Final Fantasy VII. Also, this article is from Dual Shockers, written by Leah Donato. So if this is wrong, please forward all complaints to Leah
Okay.
at
And Game
at
Shockers.
Dual Shockers.
Dual Shockers.
Okay, so your hint before your guess is this is a game on our console of choice, the Switch.
Okay.
And your guess of Final Fantasy VII is also incorrect.
Okay.
Not on the list.
So it's on Switch. I will say Animal Crossing. I forgot the subtitle of the most recent one.
Switch one?
Yeah.
I honestly forget as well. The new Animal Crossing. It is not the new Animal Crossing. Your next hint is this game is getting a much anticipated sequel scheduled for kind of early mid, somewhere in the March, April, May, I believe, of
Oh.
2023, just a few months from now.
Is it Zelda Breath of the Wild?
It is. Number 12 is Zelda Breath of the Wild. Well done.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Moving on to number 11.
I didn't know it sold
Your
that many, yeah.
your hint that is 28 million copies
Wow.
according to this list.
Okay.
Your next hint, I'm trying to think. Kind of want to start on the harder hints and then work my way up. So this one is going to be an impressive roster.
Smash Brothers Ultimate?
Ah, I got it in one. Well done. Smash Brothers Ultimate indeed.
Wow.
My
okay.
next or possibly my third hint was going to be Jigglypuff. I think you would have gotten it on that one.
Yeah. Well, that could have been a Pokemon thing. I mean, impressive
This is
roster
true.
as well for that.
That is true.
is-
They arguably have a more impressive roster than Smash Brothers now. Keep
that is-
trying Smash Brothers. You will eventually catch them all, I assume.
Just every single Pokemon is a fighter, but I hope not. That would be that would not be the ultimate Smash Brothers. That would be the opposite of ultimate. That's just
Next up is a modern game that shares its name with a game that came out a while ago.
but a modern one.
Yes, like in the last came out in the last 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say Tetris, but it's probably not a Tetris one.
Are you guessing Tetris, or are you just joking?
Now I want to guess Tetris.
Would you like to guess Tetris? Is that
I
your
would like to
final
guess
answer?
Tetris?
Tetris is indeed the number one selling game of all time. We are a little out of order now, but is number
Really?
one.
I guess I'm not thinking...
I don't know if it's
I
because
guess
so many
I'm-
versions or what.
I think
but,
so, because I guess I'm only thinking of consoles, but I guess I could count for some PC versions as well. Or am I wrong
Indeed,
on that?
520 million copies
Okay.
sold. Again, we started at 28 million with Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
So that's 5 guesses.
Huh.
You are making great progress. Let's go back. And another hint for number 10. Let's go with controversial game.
Controversial game?
Hmm.
There's a controversial game? Aren't all games controversial? I don't... Oh, wow. Halo? don't
I
know.
will give you a little more before you guess Halo. It is controversial. The series is controversial. So not only is your hint it's controversial, but that it is in a series. And would
I'm
you
still
like
gonna
to
guess
guess
Halo.
for the list?
Oh, you know what? I will say Grand Theft Auto, actually.
So first
3.
off, so
Grand
your
Theft Auto
guess is
3.
going to be Grand Theft Auto 3. That's
3.
that's what you're guessing.
Uh-huh.
Grand Theft Auto 3 is not on the list, and
It's not. Oh.
it is not.
Is San Andreas or whatever one? The Grand Theft Auto?
So you're going to take another guess and go with San Andreas. I think that was 4.
Yeah, sure.
I forget which one. So Grand Theft
Isn't that
Auto
the one
San
that came after
Andreas.
3?
It came after. I don't remember what order they
Okay.
came in.
Okay.
It's not the most recent one, but
Okay.
I think it might have been not one of the numbered ones. I can't recall if that was 4 or San Andreas was its own thing. But San Andreas is not on the list.
Okay.
I will give you a couple hints since you're
Controversial
rattling through these guesses.
series.
Um,
Um.
so this is a online game. That's one of your hints.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go. Actually.
Online player versus player game.
Oh, player versus player.
Hmm.
It is not the series that I was going to guess for a moment. Um, can I just? This is not the guess for this, but I want to make another guess, which is World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft is not on the list, probably
Not on
because
the
they just
list.
keep selling expansions rather than making new games or something. I'm
Okay.
not sure. But World of
Um,
Warcraft not on the list. Would you like another hint, or are you ready with another
no,
guess?
I need to. I need to actually guess based on your hit. That one was just a
Yep, yep.
random guess.
Try.
Um, controversial series, but player versus player.
Modern game that's renamed after an older game. Came out in the last 4 years.
Oh, that's all the same
PvP
thing.
online. I will tell you it is also a shooter, but you probably would have guessed that by now with the online PvP.
Oh, I was thinking those were all for different ones. Sorry.
This is all
Um,
for number 10.
so older game and player and online. I don't know.
It's a
Actually,
famous shooter.
I'm probably just forgetting the older versions of these. Wow, famous shooter.
Hmm.
Oh no, this is bad.
Would you
These are
like to
the ones I
skip
usually do.
and move on to the next one?
Let's skip. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. We'll come back to 10 if there's still guesses left.
Okay.
Let's. I'll give you a hint for this one. This is going to be the hardest one, and it is a game that follows in the wake of Minecraft, but is not Minecraft.
Follows in the wake of Minecraft, though.
Hmm.
Wow.
This is going
But
to be the
is
hardest
not.
one. So if you're going to skip, this would be another good one to skip. After you
Then
take a
I will
guess, maybe.
skip. Then I don't know if
Okay,
it's.
you're just
I
going to go
was going
for
to
it.
say Planet Coaster, but that can't be.
No, that is
Okay.
that is definitely not even close to it. Okay, so we're
Huh.
moving on to number 8 because I think you could probably get the rest of these with a little help. Um, so let's see. This is a Western.
Is it Red Dead Redemption 2?
It is Red Dead Redemption 2. Well done. I believe that was your seventh guess, but I've kind of
Dos.
lost a little bit of track.
Dude.
Well done. 46 million copies. Your next hint will be colorful.
Colorful.
Uh huh.
Um. Rainbow puppies in space. I don't know. That's not my guess. I'm just
So, well,
colorful.
then I won't tell you if it made the list.
Um. I can't think of games that are like colorful. They all have color. I don't know.
Is this fair? Would you like another hint? At the
Sure.
cost of a guess. I will say racing game. Colorful and racing game.
Mario Kart?
Which Mario Kart would you like to guess?
Is 8 the most recent one? Let's say
I
8.
believe it is. Mario Kart 8 is indeed correct. It is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe specifically, but I believe I'm
Okay.
going to take Mario Kart 8.
It's
48 million copies.
wow. Okay.
All right. Next up, I'm going to say you're at 9 guesses. You're about a third of the way through your guesses. Also, you're about halfway through the list. Number
Okay.
6 is a game we have played together. Not for the
That
podcast.
narrows it down. Um
And not a ton. Just a few times. I guess I probably made
uh
it harder, but
I guess I feel like because we've kind of rotated through a lot of them.
mhm.
Um Rocket League? Is that the car sucker?
It is not Rocket League,
It
but
is
we have
not
played that
Rocket League.
together.
Okay.
Your next hint will be, uh, it is a shooter we've played together.
Huh. Is it Destiny?
It is not Destiny.
It is not
It
Destiny.
is a team-based shooter we have played together.
Oh. Um. Overwatch.
It is indeed Overwatch. 50 million copies
Okay.
sold.
I feel like we played more than a few times. We played. Maybe I'm
Oh,
thinking
like
of
three
like
times.
we
I feel
played
like
a
it's
lot
not a
of
bit of fun.
times whenever we played.
That's fair.
So maybe
That's
yeah.
fair. We
Maybe
played a
that's what I'm
number of
thinking of.
hours of it, even though it was only on a few sittings.
Yeah. I was
So
just thinking about
next,
that game the other day too. Interesting.
yeah, Overwatch 2 doesn't seem like it's doing too hot, but I haven't been following the
I didn't
latest
realize that there was an
news on it.
Overwatch 2. That's
Not up on video game news quite as much as me, but
well, Blizzard. Yeah. So
yes.
yeah.
So number 5 on the list is a genre-defying game of the last 5 years. This created a genre, or at least made a genre famous, if it didn't create one.
Created a genre. Wow. In the last 5 years.
I think, give or take.
Huh. Wow. I think I gotta, I don't really have a guess. Is it a well, I'll do a random guess just to
Uh-huh.
move on with it. Mario Odyssey. I don't know.
It's not Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
Um, Next up, your hint is going to be, um, yeah, 100. That's a good hint. I think
It
everyone is
is?
shouting. All of our non-existent listeners are just
Oh
shouting
my
at their
gosh,
podcast right
100?
now. Hmm.
Wow. No, I can't. Yeah. I can't.
All right.
My brain is not connecting.
Another hint at the cost of a guess. Um,
Because
it
100
was
to me
it,
right now means something else, but yeah.
interesting. I don't know what that means.
Disney just launched their 100th anniversary stuff. So
Uh, it
yeah.
is not Disneyland.
I figured it was not, but yeah.
or or Disney the company, I suppose. We
Yeah.
probably haven't made it to the 100th anniversary of Disneyland yet. So the next hint, the really kind of giving it away hint, is it's what all the cool kids were playing before they played Fortnite.
See, I want to say like PUBG, but it can't be that or whatever that was. Because that wasn't even sold. I think that was a free one. Um,
So you are not guessing PUBG.
I am not.
Okay.
Oh man, but
They are really shouting at their
before
podcast now.
Fortnite. Yeah, yeah. What did I play? I didn't even play Fortnite. But what was I playing?
Well, I
that
did
was
say
like
all the
having
cool
to go?
kids, Chris.
Ha
Not
ha
what you were playing.
ha ha. I'm also not a kid anymore. Um, oh my gosh. Is it Halo? It's not Halo?
It is not Halo. I will go ahead and
Okay.
tell you the entire Halo franchise is not
Okay.
on here.
All right.
Okay, do you want to skip or you want another hint for this one?
Now let's do another hint.
Okay, another hint. We're at halfway, 15 guesses slash hints. So let's see. Uh, you have almost said the answer.
Really?
Yes, in this game.
Like before this?
It is something you have said but not guessed.
Is it PUBG?
It is PUBG. I'm not even going to ask you. It is
Really?
PUBG.
Wow.
You got it last time. It has 75 million copies. I do believe it might have been like
Huh.
a free mod at first, and then eventually did
I thought-
release as a standalone game separate
Okay.
from Arma 2. I think where it was a mod of. All right, number 4. Really
I
getting
did
up
play
there.
it. I did play PUBG a little bit.
I
So
actually don't think I have.
wow.
I
And I'm
definitely
the
wouldn't
cool
be good
kid.
at this game. Yeah. Well, arguable.
Well, I'm not a kid. Yeah, we established that. Yeah.
Um, okay, next up, this is a game for the whole family.
Um, how is that narrowing it down? That's like most of Nintendo's games subtitles.
This
Um,
is a good point, but the first hint is always the weakest hint.
is it like Wii Sports?
Would you like to guess Wii Sports?
I'll guess Wii Sports.
Indeed, it is Wii Sports.
It
Well
really
done.
is Wii Sports.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably 83 million copies is the exact number of Wii's that were also sold,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
it.
was very
Because I,
popular.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
So,
people I heard of even recently talking about Wii bowling. So, um,
so now we are on to number three. This is the game. This similar to PUBG. This is a game that you have almost but not quite guessed during this game. That is
I
your hint.
almost guessed it. Like I said it, but I didn't use it. I said
Almost.
guess.
I don't think you said the entire title, but you were
Really?
almost there. Uh-huh.
Oh, oh man! But now I'm forgetting all the things that I've said. um, is it Warcraft 3? Something like that?
No, no.
It is not.
It's not Warcraft 3. The second clue for this one will be crime.
Oh, it's Grand Theft Auto.
Which one? It's not 3. It's not San Andreas.
2?
It is not 2.
It is not
You want to
2?
take another guess or would you like a hint?
450. Grand Theft Auto 450. No, so just Grand Theft Auto 1?
It is not 1. Would you like
Wait,
another hint?
there's another one?
There is another
Oh,
one that
Vice
came
City.
after 3 and San Andreas.
Is
You're
it
guessing
Vice City?
Vice City? It is
Is it
not
that?
Vice City. We are
It's not
using
that
up
one.
those clues.
There is more than those? What
There
is.
are. In fact, this one has been out for like over 10 years. It keeps getting re-released and re-released. It is very good. I played the entirety of it. It's the only Grand Theft Auto game I've played the entirety of.
Uh, I don't even know. Can you just give it to me?
Guess
Because I've at least gotten Grand Theft
you've
Auto. What
guessed
is.
1, 2, and 3. You've
Uh
guessed
huh.
San Andreas, which I think is 4. Would you like to guess?
5? There's a 5?
It is Grand Theft Auto 5. You got
There is a
it. Well
5?
done. There's a 5. It's
I
been
thought
out
that
for a
was a
long time.
myth.
Oh, it's not a myth. Grand Theft Auto 6 is the one they're working on that probably won't come out for another number of years.
Or
The
ever, I
5
guess.
is the latest and greatest of Grand Theft Autos. It is, in fact, quite great. It's set in LA. It
Okay.
has a very faithful map.
Okay. Yeah, see, I think because I'd always look into it, because I like 3 a lot. I know that then that's like dating when I last played, but like, because I didn't play San Andreas or any of the others, like there was, like they made all those weird sequels that were more expansions that were just weird. And so that's what I thought that they were doing for a while. And then I'm just like, okay, they're never doing another Grand Theft Auto. Forget it. So
Well,
that was my reason.
check out 5. It's pretty good.
Okay. I did get Grand Theft Auto.
Hey, it's like saying you got Star Wars. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, but still. If
Okay,
it comes down to it, I think there's a little bit of extra I should get.
your hint for number 2 is this should be obvious, and I have said it, but you have not.
What?
Well, you definitely haven't guessed it, but I was the first one to say it in this game.
But that still doesn't help. I don't remember everything that.
It's
Um,
true. You were having trouble remembering what you said, let alone what I said.
we've named a lot of games. And there's one that I skipped too.
There are 2
Um,
you have skipped, but you do
oh, the
have number 1
colorful
already.
and um, uh, we've mentioned it. I don't know.
Your next hint will be not only were all the cool kids playing it before, but all the cool kids are still playing it and will be for all eternity at this rate.
Is it Pokemon?
A pretty good guess. Pokemon did not make the list.
Okay.
Another hint is maybe if you took a walk around the block, you'd be able to figure this one out.
Like around my own block, or is this a more metaphorical block?
It is any block ever, not necessarily just your personal block.
I no, I don't. I can't think of anything from that. If I take a block
Um,
around my block. Oh, Minecraft.
yeah, it's Minecraft.
Minecraft.
It's a
Uh,
block joke. It's a block
Minecraft.
pun. All
Yeah.
right. So you've nearly used up all your guesses. Would you like to call it there or try to figure out those two games you missed that
Well,
are really
I'm
hard
gonna try
compared
to
to
figure
everything
them
else?
out. Are you gonna tell me after?
Yeah, I'll tell you after. I will not
Um,
leave our listeners hanging, even though
I'm
they probably know one of them.
I'm gonna guess for the shooter one. It's a shooter one that was. I'm gonna guess it's Fallout.
It is not Fallout.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to repeat the hint and I'm going to add a little bit of emphasis into
Okay.
it. The hints I've already given you for this one. So it's a shooter. It's
Uh
got
huh.
PvP.
Uh
It is
huh.
a modern game.
Uh huh.
And it was so it came out in the last 4 years. So a modern game that
Uh
came out in the
huh.
last 4 years, and it is also renamed after a game that came out probably over a decade ago. But both of them were quite famous. But this one is very impressive in terms of sales. 30 million copies sold, and yeah, that's a recap of your hint with special emphasis that I think you may have missed.
Uh, I don't think I'm gonna get it because also there's like within the last 4 years there's also this whole pandemic thing, and I was not
This is true.
privy
Yeah,
to
well,
that.
this is right before the pandemic, so this is what
Okay.
got people through the early months, I guess. Came out in 2019. It is Call of Duty Modern
Oh,
Warfare.
it was a Call of Duty. Actually, I was thinking about guessing Call of Duty. But
Yes,
that's see, I was thinking of almost more one on one than with the PvP. But I guess I should have been thinking broader. Call of
and
Duty
then
Modern Warfare. All right.
the last game. I'm not even sure you know it exists. You probably have only vaguely heard of it, so I'm just going to give it to you.
Okay.
It is Terraria, which I was surprised to see on
Yeah.
this
No.
list for 45 million
I
copies.
there's no way I would have guessed that. I did not
It is a 2D
know that was
Minecraft.
anything.
But yeah, that is the 12 best-selling games of all time. Breath of the Wild, Smash Brothers Ultimate, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the 2019 release, Terraria, Red Dead 2, Mario Kart 8, Overwatch, PUBG, Wii Sports, Grand Theft Auto 5, Minecraft, and at the top of the list, which you got with no hints, Tetris. 520 million copies sold. I think we
I
had at least three of them.
I might have actually had Tetris on an exam in my video game class.
Oh,
That was
that's
not
fun.
how I guessed it, but I think because I know it came up in that as being the number one
Was it
selling.
you just had to play multiplayer Tetris against each other and only one of you got an A?
You know, that's what I would do if I taught the class. No, and I'd give more than one A, but
Oh, okay. Top three
but
get
but
A's.
yeah, Tetris, yeah, something like that. Actually, no, it'd probably be Smash Brothers. Let's face it. Let's be more modern. It'd probably be like Battle Royale with Smash Brothers Ultimate. It just all right, last one standing. Yes,
Well, I mean, PUBG is for that.
that too.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. I did not do well at PUBG when I played it. It is.
oh no, I would imagine I would insta die on every spawn in
Oh
PUBG.
yeah, I did it
I
Fortnite too.
nearly
I
did
did
on
not.
on Fortnite. I'm
We're
tempted
way
to go
too.
back to. Uh-huh.
Well, I feel like we're too old because back in our day, shooter games you didn't have to build anything.
Hmm.
You had a gun going into it, and you just found better guns later on. That's all.
They
That's all
did
that
make a
took.
no build mode in Fortnite, and that does make me tempted to go back and give it a try. I imagine I would enjoy that a good amount, but also
Yeah,
I'm very bad at multiplayer games nowadays. Getting too old, too slow.
yeah. It's the 10-year-olds now, so
So
it's a 10-year-olds world.
let's talk about a game that's more our
Okay.
speed. Golf Club Wasteland, a nice slow game where we can listen to
Oh
the
man, that
radio and
does make
play
us sound
golf.
old. Back in my day,
uh,
we played the shooter games. Now I took up golf games. I play golf games. Yeah.
The description for this game does spell it out pretty well. Golf Club Wasteland is a game where human life is wiped out. Earth is now a golf course for the ultra rich. In this dystopian sports puzzler, play through destroyed brutalist monuments, crumbling shopping malls, and abandoned museum as you piece together the full story of how humanity fell. I will say that in this description, it suggests that there are very little or no humans left. In fact, I think they said 1% or 0.1% of humanity moved to Mars after this incident that destroyed the planet, and so there is a good chunk of humanity left. But basically everyone on Earth has been lost. And you are not one of these ultra rich, though you are on their golf course. You are not one of these ultra rich, but rather a kind of a notable historical figure that you will learn.
Hmm.
You will learn about your place in this story as you play along. But you are a little out of place in that you are not one of the ultra rich. You are just some guy, and you need to figure out why you're notable enough to get a trip back to Earth to play golf. The game is very simple. I think it actually released on iOS first and was one of those kind of drag to
Oh,
aim games. We were playing on Switch using the Joy-Con
Joy-Cons, yeah.
to aim. Yeah, and it's very simple. You just pull it back and you launch the almost like a slingshot. You would launch the golf ball and you would watch it, you would play golf as the story kind of played out through this lovely little radio show. Um, how did you think of the presentation, Chris?
Presentation wise, I was actually impressed. I thought it would be a lot more like basic as far as animation and graphics and because just initial pictures it looked very simple, but
Hmm.
they did a good job with it. There was a bit more animation than I thought. Um, I liked a lot of the graphical elements of it. We already mentioned, if it counts as presentation, we already mentioned the radio was really fun to be listening to
Hmm.
as you play it. That definitely took top rating as far as presentation. Was the whole sound. Yeah.
Yeah, the radio I was going to talk about a little bit in story, but in terms of the quality behind it, honestly, it feels like, one of those games that if we were doing Oscars for sound design, this game would
Hmm.
probably be up there because, even just the hitting the golf ball and it's bouncing off these items in the urban environment, there's a good weight, good tinny sound as it hits some metal, a nice clunk or sploosh if it ends up in the water. It feels very good. And then as you have this um, uh, well produced music and this radio program going on, it felt very good. Do you remember there was a Cowboy Bebop album that I used to listen to?
Yes.
Where there was a radio host in between remixes of songs from the Cowboy Bebop album.
Oh, I kind of remember the radio host. I remember the album. I don't
Hmm.
remember the radio host as much, but
But it just reminded
yeah.
me a lot of that album where it's a DJ, he's talking about this, that, and the next thing, and in this case it's almost a little bit like This American Life where it's various stories kind of tied together, but then because it is a radio show, there's full length songs in between, and I loved it so much. I love the sound design, I love the radio show, and honestly, I really just love the atmosphere. This is a post-apocalyptic game,
Hmm.
which tends to have a lots of grays and browns and greens, and it's just kind of that drab environment. But this one is bright with touches of blue and neon that were just very enjoyable. You could feel the loneliness of this empty
Hmm.
environment that you are playing through, but it was also very beautiful. It didn't feel like the same take on post-apocalypse as other games usually do.
Yeah.
Um,
I would agree. Yeah.
and there's nice little touches in the foreground and background and all over that kind of give you a picture of what culture was like on this version of Earth before the end. That
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. Lots of
Some
lots of puns and
yeah, I was gonna
plays
say that.
on. corporate names and things like that that were just a little bit twisted and funny. The thing I really liked, you might not have quite gotten to this level, is toward the end, but you eventually play through a stuffed animal factory, and the bears are just called Anxiety Bear. Because this was probably a very dark point in human history, and everyone needed their own little anxiety bear to clutch as the world was coming to an end. Um, it just was a nice, dark, but also cute touch.
Which was
Now,
stuff like that was throughout. Yeah.
any other thoughts on presentation, or would you like to take a crack at the gameplay?
Let's move on to gameplay.
So, what do you think? What do you think of the golf?
It it wasn't the hardest controls of a golf game I've ever played, but it was not quite as responsive as I wanted it to be. Or it was a little hard sometimes to figure out angles and the like what the speed of the ball was going to do based on what I was
Mhm.
doing. And that bothered me a little bit. It it wasn't too terrible, but yeah, it just was. It could have been better. I feel like.
I would agree. In the areas we talk about presentation, gameplay, and story, gameplay is definitely the lowest quality
Mm-hmm.
one on in this particular game. It's a fine golf game. I could see why it was a iOS game first, and also, they went all in on their storytelling, and the
Yeah.
golf seemed like an afterthought. I almost thought of the golf as just something to do while I listened to the radio,
Mm-hmm.
something to do to keep my hands busy because it wasn't that engaging. It wasn't particularly unique. It was just fine. It's a 2D golf game, little dragon aim. Uh, it was fine. It did feel like your shots weren't very powerful. Like at most, you could maybe get 20 yards per shot. And so it took a long time. There were very high pars because it took a long time to hit a golf ball.
Yeah.
And to be clear, this is not a traditional, I think I mentioned at the beginning, but this is not traditional golf courses. This is golfing through destroyed apartment buildings,
It
old malls and museums, and more like a mini golf idea than a traditional greens and fairways golf game.
well, kind of like it's mini golf. It's maybe a little bit more
Yeah, yeah.
akin to mini golf. So, because some of them you really did need to bounce it off of certain things to
hmm
get it to where it needed to go. So, yeah.
I sometimes struggled. There was a lot of like water areas or out of bounds areas
Mm-hmm.
where it would, if your ball landed there, it would just be lost, and you would take another shot from that same location you knocked it into the water from. And there was so much of this that it was it
And the
was really
squirrels.
like and squirrels would steal your ball. And toward the end of the game, there was a monster that would eat your ball occasionally, and you had to figure out how to deal with
Oh,
that.
I did not get that far. I'm glad I
There
didn't. That would
was
have, yeah.
it. He ate a number of balls before I figured out that one. I did make it to the end of this one, but there's various challenges, and so a lot of it is using a great deal of precision to land it. Hit it hard enough that you go over the water, but not so hard that you end up in the next
Yeah.
water on the other
Mm-hmm.
side. And so it's kind of like hitting from island to island in this urban environment that was challenging for a game with not the best precision. Um,
Yeah.
the To be fair, there were some ways to get around this. There's no scorekeeping. It was just a matter of getting it in by par. So, and you didn't have to compete with anybody. It was just playing on your own, pass fail style with par. And if
Mm-hmm.
you didn't enjoy that or were getting too frustrated, they actually had a story mode you could turn on that took away par entirely. You would just keep hitting until you eventually made it there, and that would have taken away a lot of the frustrating elements of the golf game. Um, I was very tempted. Did you keep par on, or did you go story mode eventually?
I feel like I did story mode because I just was able to keep going a lot.
Okay.
Like, um, it, yeah, it didn't do that for me. I mean, it gave me the option to skip, but if I skipped, then I wouldn't get some of the story.
Mhm.
So, but I was able to. There's definitely times where I just kept going until I made it to the hole. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that must have been story mode then. I almost turned it on. The weird thing is the difficulty on this game was a little unbalanced. It felt like it got really hard really fast and then got
Hmm.
easier. And not I don't think it was because I was just getting better at the game or more used to how the golf ball moved. I think it just was literally easier, higher pars or things like that. And
It
so
varied.
toward the early part
Yeah.
of the game, I was very tempted to turn on story mode, and then
Yeah.
toward the latter half, I was like, "Oh, this is fine."
Yeah. It I would say it varied, or it seemed to, because I'd kind of look at the par at times, and some of them did have a little bit of a higher one. So it just kind of depended on the hole and what was going on. But yeah, yeah,
How about the story? Did you like how the story was told through little pieces of the environment and the diary entries you would get after a level?
yeah. I it was making me because like I said, I skipped a couple times, or I was able to, and then I found out that it didn't give me the diary entries, and so
Hmm.
that made me just want to not skip anymore and play
Hmm.
through to find out what was happening. I liked also that there were little. I think there were a couple little pauses that happened. So once you made it to the hole and completed it, like it paused and it gave you a little bit of a scene. Um,
Hmm.
with the golfer, we're not giving too much away, right? For the story.
Yeah, I feel like because the story is so important in this game, let's keep it pretty low spoiler.
Okay. So yeah, there's a little. Yeah, there's a couple little moments. I feel like there might have been more because again, I didn't go past a certain point, but yeah, I like that. I liked how it went through it for sure.
I did as well. There were, after each hole, depending on if you got par, I think you got one diary entry, and on some
Hmm.
levels there was a second diary entry. If you got like two or three strokes below par, you
Oh,
could get those. I think that's how it worked, but I wasn't quite clear. Um, and
that never
uh,
happened to me. So there you go. Yeah.
Um, and it is written from your golfer's perspective. This astronaut person, and he's talking, he's reminiscing, he's talking about the moment he is in right now, as well as the moments that were before Earth was destroyed, and while they were heading toward Mars and things like that. And it's kind of disjointed, like a diary would be, but you start getting a picture of it. And then also, whenever a new level loads, there's a second, just a short sentence or so from some other mysterious figure that you start
Hmm.
to hear from their perspective as well. They seem to be observing what is happening and commenting on things, and that is part of the story that takes place as this mysterious figure and the golfer uh, spot each other and begin to interact subtly, and then eventually have an introduction at the very end of the game. And on
Okay.
top of that, after the last level, there's 35 levels. Some of them take much longer than others, but most of them are just a few minutes long, so
Hmm.
it's a short game. At the very end, it unlocks a 55 panel, high quality digital comic book that you can just read on your Switch. That puts
Hmm.
everything together. I've had this disjointed storytelling, now puts it all together in a story presentation that is much easier to understand with pictures. And it starts before the game with a little bit about the golfer and his time on Mars and what happened to him and led up to him coming to Earth to play golf. And then even maybe goes a step or two past the end of the game on what he does next after he finishes the 35 hole golf course. It was just a very nice touch that I didn't expect. That kind of answers those lingering questions, most of them, for you, and puts the story in a nice package,
Yeah.
just in case you were having trouble following it. With the more subtle storytelling of the diary entries, short diary entries, to be clear, not long ones, just a couple sentences at most.
You would know better than me. I mean, for having finished it, like it's not a or I wasn't feeling like it was a big mystery of a story. Like you can piece it together in a way is what I was feeling like, or there were like for the maybe like the main point of it all. Um,
There are things that like motivations for the astronaut, for instance, like
mhm.
why is he here? What is he doing? What is his hope and his goal in all this? And you can definitely infer lots of it. And also, it's a lot of storytelling doesn't necessarily answer every question, and that's
Mhm.
fine too. This really puts it in perspective and answers it quite clearly.
Okay.
So it is something that is unnecessary. Like if you got to the end of the game and you didn't read the comic, I think you would still have a satisfying experience. But I personally like the full story and getting all the little details. So
Okay.
I really appreciated the comic at the end and highly recommend reading it because it was well done, good artwork, and just nice. And then of course the real star of the show, which we led off our own podcast with, is this radio nostalgia from Mars. This radio
Hmm.
program you are listening to from very far away. That's impressive radio broadcasting technology, um, but it is a series of little vignettes of people calling in, talking about their life on Earth, and talking about life on Mars, and there's a lot of regret and melancholy, as well as, of course, nostalgia for what once was on Earth. That just kind of permeates the game and goes hand in hand with this art style and this single figure playing golf all alone in this post-apocalyptic environment that just was a chef's kiss of a perfect melding of storytelling and
Hmm.
gameplay. Um, were any of the stories like stand out to you? Do you remember any moments of the radio broadcast that were just spectacular or
I
noteworthy?
Gosh, actually, I mean, some of it was even like, oh wow, this is real. This is like very sad and touching. I remember there's a few
Hmm.
parts of that too. Like people were, whoever the voice actors were. I mean, they just did a good job too
Hmm.
of conveying emotion. So, um, yeah, it wasn't something specific. It was just things like that where it was like, wow, this is heavy. Like, yeah.
There's a general tone of like they escaped to Mars. I think they thought when they were fleeing like they were heading toward a better life, and then life on Mars not being a planet where humanity has thrived for long periods of time, it is very tough, and you hear lots of talk about how people are just working just to stay alive, and there's lots of advertisements for this recreational drug that everyone is using just to get by with the amount of stress and anxiety they're feeling, just trying to stay alive on Mars, which does
Yeah.
sound like quite the challenge. And then Radio Nostalgia is here to kind of take your mind off it and help you remember Earth and all these pleasant and hopeful, even sad memories. Just something else to kind of put your mind on while you are working away on Mars, just to keep the oxygen flowing and the food in your system. And it is a difficult life, and uh, you get that there's a weight to radio nostalgia that expresses that quite nicely. Any final thoughts on this game before we head into rating?
No, I think other thoughts are going to go into the rating of it, so might as well go
All
there.
right. Would you like to go first then, or shall I?
I'll let you go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably could be told just by how I've talked about this game, but I am giving this two thumbs up, two big thumbs up, because this is very unique. I have not quite experienced a game that told a story in this manner. The radio show just felt like even Grand Theft Auto has radio shows in their game, but their afterthoughts, their comedy. This felt like it was really trying to connect with the listener, and they put so much work into this radio show that it is the standout um, person. I think at the end of the game, you also get a QR code where you can just download the entire soundtrack for free or something like that.
Oh,
So just a nice little touch to keep swinging away at that golf ball until you get to the end. If you enjoy the tracks and the work that they did on this, it's fantastic. I'm very excited about this, and I kind of hope to see more games doing things like this, where they have very innovative ways to tell their story in a top quality production. How about you?
Now that you put that, well,
Did I
because
sway you?
not completely. I actually was not gonna give it any thumbs up, but I had a reasoning for that. Even though it was not totally bad. It's like I think I would tell people to play it, but for me, I will initially say the actual rating. We'll give it just one thumb up, but I
Hmm.
think where I almost didn't give it any
Hmm.
is like the radio show is amazing. I'm with you,
Hmm.
and to have it integrated in the game, that's wonderful. The actual gameplay just got me down way too much.
Hmm.
And it wasn't enough for me to say yes, this is an absolute game. Like he really, it's kind of like I don't know. I'd be fine with listening to this radio thing if there's stuff happening in the background and I'm playing Bejeweled. You know what I mean? Like if
Hmm.
there's animations, that kind of thing. Like, but um, as a package and what you're saying for encouraging games to be like this, then yeah, I'll give it one thumb up because I do want to see games take on this unique um, way of being made to like really push the boundaries of how you're telling the story. I am fine with that. I just hope that the gameplay is better for, for whoever makes a game like this again, or like that kind of package type game. Yeah,
I agree that the golf, two thumbs up. I'm not saying this is a perfect game by any means, just it is so close. And the reason it is not a perfect game is because the golf is pretty mediocre,
mm-hmm.
um, and at times frustrating even. Um, and I totally understand that rating. There actually are a couple of sequels announced for this game that we'll talk about in just a little bit. But to kind of keep consistent with our theme, let's actually talk about not the sequels that are coming, but the hypothetical Golf Club Wasteland 2. If this game got a sequel that was, it was more of the same, but hopefully up a notch. Maybe they did take some of those inputs on golf and create a slightly more interesting gameplay part while also telling a new, fresh story. Um, does that interest you? Do you think you'd purchase that game? Do you think you'd purchase it at full price or on sale?
So I I would say, and I feel like we were leaving out the sequels that are coming out are not the exact same. I think you found out,
Right.
right?
Yeah, they are
Is
they are
so
set in the world of Golf Club Wasteland, but they
yeah,
are not golf games,
it's
and they use
right.
slightly different games in general. But we'll talk
It
about
would,
those in a sec.
I guess, closer to being sequels than like I was gonna say. It's like having Mario Kart to Super Mario World, but it's like
Hmm.
that's a little bit more of a distance between how those games are, but kind of like that. Anyway, just for whoever's listening, but so to keep it, I would say no. I don't think I would buy the sequel or play it.
Hmm.
And I know they would probably do something the same, and I know I'm saying I love the way this story unfolded, but the sequel, because if they made the sequel roughly the same, then it's kind of like, you did this already.
Hmm.
Now just tell me the story. Like I don't care. Like you got to do
Just
something
skip the
different.
golf.
Yeah, like you
Make a
got to do
movie.
something different. Um, yeah, to really do it. Um, so I would say
Uh,
no. I would not. I would not pick it up again, or pick up another one. Yeah.
I am going to disagree and say yes, so we'll kind of cut it down the middle. I would pick up, and I would even purchase at full price because
Okay.
I'm very excited to see what's next, and just with that assumption that they will tune the golf a little bit because it's a sequel, they'll make it a little bit better, but they would tell another story in this way about this or another similar type of world. I would be excited to see that. Um,
So you're
So
okay
let's
with if it would be golf again? Exactly.
if it would be golf again, I would play it.
Okay.
I am more excited for the actual sequels they have announced that aren't golf. Those I might pre-order type thing, but this one, even the hypothetical golf club story, I'd play another one of these, especially
Okay.
at the very affordable price. It's like $10 full priced, which
Yeah.
is less than a movie ticket, and you're getting about the same level, the same length of experience,
Hmm.
and
And
on
sometimes just
sale. I
as good
think we
of a
got it for
story, depending on the movie. So
seriously, and I think we on sale we picked it up for $2 or something ridiculous. That
yeah.
if this just gets you through one commute, which would be great for it. I do use headphones. There's some colorful
Hmm.
language, but it is a fantastic way to spend a little time, and great if you just need to pause it and come back later. So let's split the difference. You're not buying it. I'm paying full price, so 1 out of 2 points for that one, leaving 4 out of 6 points. A very respectable score for Golf Club Wasteland. Well done.
Okay.
And I want to tell you about the sequels. So
Okay.
we talked a little bit about this mysterious figure that you eventually
Hmm.
encounter at the end of the game, and
And see
there
him
is
throughout.
one.
He
Just
appears.
barely. You get
Yeah.
hints of this person,
Yeah.
this creature, as you go about, and
Well, I think maybe to bring you up, did you notice that he was actually in at every hole? You could actually
I
see
didn't
him.
notice every hole. I did see him in some holes, kind of moving around the background and the
Yeah.
foreground.
Well, because some of
Uh,
them, and this is where, well, actually, this is my assumption that he was at every hole because sometimes I'd see him at the very beginning and then he'd scurry off.
right,
So
right.
yeah. Anyway,
Um,
but he's
and
around a lot. Yeah.
he is around, and he is a very notable, interesting person that kind of provides that dot 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 at the end of the story of what comes next.
Hmm.
And they are doing a sequel that features that character after the
Okay.
events of Golf Club Wasteland, a kind of a direct sequel, and it is a classic 2D platformer.
Hmm.
So you are running around this post-apocalyptic world as this character and exploring it. And again, they are bringing back Radio Nostalgia Mars and the radio program, and probably telling a little bit of story, kind of the commentary on what happens in the first game. I imagine some of that news will get back to Mars, and they might talk about it a little bit. And that will be exciting. And then they're making another sequel, or rather a prequel to this game that takes place on Earth before the disaster wipes out humanity. So it's an ecological disaster that happens. So it takes place. It's called high water, and from rising sea level type ideas, and so it involves boating across this flooded wasteland.
Hmm.
And it seems like there might be elements of stealth. I haven't seen much of the gameplay, but it is a 3D game rather than a 2D game, and it seems like you have a crew of about 4 people moving around just as word of the people fleeing to Mars is starting to get out. Rumors of it are starting to get out, and I imagine they are just trying to survive. Get the food and water they need to stay alive on Earth, and you probably get to watch what happens in this disaster that happened many years ago in Golf Club Wasteland. You get to experience that firsthand, probably with a local radio station, since I don't know if they're broadcasting from Mars quite yet. But 2 sequels in the works. Both the release dates are to be announced. I think one of them had a 2022 release date at one point, but obviously has not happened yet as we speak to you from the year 2023. Um, but yeah, those are
Yeah.
exciting. Do either of those appeal to you as games you might be interested
Nah,
in?
maybe not yet. I think
Okay.
I'd have to look into it more. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha. I definitely, because of the storytelling and a new way to experience it, I will probably be checking out both these games whenever they arrive.
okay.
Maybe I will touch base and try to sell them to you on the podcast.
Perhaps, but they will have to go on sale, as we know,
It's true.
for us to
To
play.
be
Yeah.
actually featured as a game on the podcast,
Hmm.
you must be on sale, even if you are already within our price range, full price. I'm sorry. That is not what we do here.
Oh.
Coming up next time for the month of February, we will be playing Kaichu, a play on chew, the cute word that people sometimes say with a heart gesture, and Kaiju, the large dinosaur or Godzilla-like creatures that destroy cities. Kaichu is a dating sim about Kaichu. Kaichu is a dating sim about Kaiju. There we go. You play the role of a Gigachu, a gigantic, romantic looking for love. Meet 6 other eligible Kaichu and visit 24 famous landmarks where Gigachu will answer challenging compatibility questions to decide the fate of your relationship. This is a very short game that looks super cute, very cartoony art style, and yes, you will be destroying monuments and falling in love in this dating sim.
Which actually just sounds like a reality show on like ABC or something like that. But
It does. I am very excited for this game. I have been looking forward to it for a while, and I haven't gotten a chance to start it yet. This is going to be fun for the month of romance. Let us indulge in romance and destruction.
okay.
All right. And should you have any questions, please send those along to twobrothersplay-a-game@gmail.com. Note to self, go check that email address. You can also tweet at us now at twobrothers.pag on Twitter. And Chris has been posting a few things on there, so you can
A few.
check out sales that are going on and fun articles that Chris has found. And maybe I will eventually learn how to use Twitter and stop being such an old man. But we'll see. We'll see. No promises.
Which the ironic thing is, you have TikTok, so I don't.
It's true. I watch TikTok. I don't know how to make a TikTok,
Okay.
but I have watched a few TikToks. I should just start posting my favorite TikToks on Twitter.
There you go.
So now that we are past the holidays, a little past Christmas and New Year's, and all the other delightful holidays of the December times, do you think mountains were on the nice list or the naughty list last year?
Um, Mountains are nice.
This is the life.